Uno the Activist, man. Uno the Activist. And Thousand Band Funny. I might make a video on him too. But today I wanted to talk about Uno the Activist. You didn't know, back in the day, Uno the Activist was special, man. Like, he was really something. He has too many songs for me even to name. He just, like, 2016, 2017, this guy was going off. And I'm not even talking about his stuff with Cardi. So just in general, he was going crazy. You know what I mean? Up until like 2018, really. After that, me and a lot of fans, I wouldn't say like I stopped checking him out, because I would still regularly listen to like newer releases of his, but it just didn't hit the same. You know, I think he got signed to like a development deal or something and tried to like go the mainstream route. He had like some stuff with Travis Barker. He was hopping on like Cardi type beats. He was hopping on Yeet type beats. And you know, I wouldn't even say the music wasn't bad. It was just alright. It didn't feel as genuine. It wasn't really like his sound, and you know, everyone can change their sound and stuff, but you know, he was hopping on the trends basically. But recently, and I mean like the last 6 months, maybe a year, really just like the last 6 months, and even like more recent, last month or two, I've been seeing kind of like an Uno the Activist comeback, not only with his popularity, because for some reason more fans are still tapped back into him and or have been tapping back into him, and he's been changing his sound a lot more. So let me explain. First, by how Uno even got a name in the first place. Uno the Activist has been releasing on Soundcloud since he was like a teenager in high school, alright? He was undoubtedly, by the way, the hottest when he was in like 2017. That's when his popularity like really peaked, underground wise especially. Like, this guy was pulling in millions of plays, like, you know what I mean? Like, that was when his sound was crazy too, in my opinion. That's when, honestly, I still don't think he's come close to that yet, but I think he's on that trajectory. Anyways, 2018, he kind of did his thing. It wasn't anything, but he kind of like stagnated, if that makes sense. He didn't progress much. And when you stagnate in underground rap, it means that you're declining, because there's no such thing as stagnating. Because in underground rap, it's all about who's the next new thing, who's the new thing, and you know, there'll always be a new thing, because that's the whole underground, right? Then I do believe he had some type of deal with Universal where it hadn't kicked in, but I'm not sure. He had an interview where he kind of explained, like, I'm pretty sure Adam 22 was like, wait, are you signed? He said, I've been signed. We're like, what? You know, and that explains why he dropped a EP called Dedication, where there were a ton of it was just like remixes, and that's something that labels do. So it was just like him remixing a bunch of songs, and they weren't bad, I mean, but he was just remixing the popular songs of the year, like that one Gunna song, It's Up, that Lil Keat song. Literally, he remixed Old Town Road by Lil Nas X. In 2020, he did drop a really solid album, and it was called 8. It had a lot of production from not from one specific person, but it had like good production on it. It was kind of like this more polished sound of his from the underground, because you know, in 2017 his stuff wasn't like mixed super clean or anything, but it was still hard, you know, like that was the sound, that's what everyone loved. But when he dropped 8, like That's Him, that song was hard. The beat was crazy. Shout out Luso and Mazo, pretty sure those were the producers. This other one called Pure was hard too. I was just listening to it the other day. It was good. And that was it. He didn't really do much. I think there's like a video of Kendall Jenner listening to That's Him. So like at the time I was like, oh, maybe he's trying to just gear up and, you know, go for like that little mainstream spot. But the album was a little, like, there were good songs, but I don't know, like there weren't anything crazy. Like, it featured some mainstream people too, like Cowboy and High Dollar Sign, you know. After that, he dropped some projects. It didn't make much noise. Unoverse, I don't know if you know this, the entire album was supposed to be produced by Starboy, Luso, and Out of Town, the hyperpop.jp producers. He didn't have the money to pay them for the beats, so Starboy gave those beats, and Out of Town gave those beats to Ken Carson, who was the new, by the way, Ken Carson wasn't anyone back then. By the way, Unoverse released in 2021, but it was, those songs are older, if that makes sense. Those songs are from early 2020. Is that most of them, at least the ones produced by Starboy, Luso, and Out of Town. And he couldn't pay them for the beats, and him and Ken Carson had this little beef, and Ken Carson was like, why are you stealing beats? You can't afford, blah, blah, blah. And the producers, they stayed classy. They didn't say anything about it. He still released some of the songs, though. I think he either remade the beats, or I'm pretty sure, because if you listen to the Taco Bell beat, it's very similar to, I forget the Ken Carson song. I think it's Came a Long Way. I forgot. I remember listening to both those songs back then, and it was like this little thing. But Uno the Activist tape didn't make much noise. It was cool. I liked some songs like Op Pack. Yeah, Op Pack was the one where it was like pretty much the same beat as Ken Carson Long Way. I think Taco Bell, I'm not sure. I'm looking at the songs right now. Anyways, you know, that was not great. Then he dropped Unoverse 3, which they were kind of like Yeet beats, let's be honest. But Yeet wasn't like Yeet yet. It was the wave back then, you know, like that was when, like, I don't know if you remember this, when Whole Lotta Red dropped, every producer started making like Whole Lotta Red. These weren't Whole Lotta Red type beats. They were like Pure type beats, Yeet type beats. Like, they weren't really his like unique style, but he did his thing. He changed his voice, and not changed his voice. He had like a little different mix, and I enjoyed some of those songs, like Astral Plane, High Speed. That song is hard, that song is super hard. Like, even though he had features from Zelly Ocho. He had a song with Yeet too. Him and Yeet were cool, by the way. They fell out, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it. After that, I actually have not been checking out his stuff, to be honest. He dropped 2 more or 3 more projects. I don't even know. I mean, I would like occasionally look at some singles, but you know, he started flooding almost like, yeah, I just wasn't that interested. He dropped another dedication album, which is just more remixes, you know, and some of them were actually pretty good. Hate For You, Puffin, that song was like, I like that song. He also dropped a collab EP with Bear Boss. Shout out Bear Boss. Bear Boss is hard. You know what I mean? He wasn't doing anything that crazy. However, recently he dropped this one song called Lil X. He's kind of like, by the way, in that song Lil X, he kind of sounds like hard rock to me. I don't know if he sounds like that to you, but whether or not he sounds like hard rock, or he's biting, or he's doing this little thing where you know how hard rock kind of sounds like a frog, but Uno's voice kind of naturally already fits the beat that he dropped in. I feel like this new wave of sound, because Uno's always done better on more traditional hip-hop ish. He can hop on those types of beats too. He's really versatile, but I mean, he's always been better on like a bit more traditional beats, if that makes sense. And it really worked out, or it's not working, it's been working out. Like, I think this style is working out a lot more. I've also seen, just, you know how like you pay attention to underground rap fans on Twitter, Instagram, and whatnot, and people have been talking about his name more. And I mean, music wise, I saw the other day something super random. He was like super sad about his ex-girlfriend getting with like a new guy or something, and everyone was like, come on, Uno, hang in there. One thing I would say, like, the only thing that kind of annoys me is I feel like Uno just drops whatever these days. Like, he just dropped, and he always did that, but like, you know, I feel like he's got to be a little more focused with the sound, you know what I mean? Like, you can't go from dropping remixes of every popular song of the year to like songs that are like on older hip-hop beats, to a tape with Bear Boss, what he just dropped, to another, I think he dropped like look up the song UnoTheActivist. Honestly, that's like he's like singing on a house beat, which is cool, by the way, you know, like, I get it. He also, by the way, I didn't even address this, he changed his name from UnoTheActivist to The Act. So I think The Act is like his showmanship name. By the way, I think that's totally stupid. Like, bro, you have an established career under one name. Why would you change it to another? But, you know, to each their own. Anyways, I know in the end I expressed some of my frustrations with Uno, but that's coming from my perspective as a fan, not like, oh man, I hate this guy. I don't want, you know, I want to see him go up. Everyone does. He's kind of been an underdog for a while, but like, everyone's like, man, you got it. You just need to lock in, bro. Just lock. You know what I mean? But anyways, I think he could have a comeback. Really, I think he's on that trajectory. Let me know if you agree, though. I might just be a biased fan, though. You know what I mean? And maybe his time has passed, and you know, a lot of people's windows passed. Maybe Uno's window really should have been 2017. He should have took off from there, had some big songs, but that never happened. I think his most streamed song on streaming platforms is still like a feature with Trippie Redd or something. But anyways, thanks for watching. Have a nice day. See you tomorrow. Bye.